Biswa, can you brief about yourself? Arun? Arun, you're muted. Nikhil, can you brief about yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm audible.
Yes.
Yeah, hi, I'm Nikhil. I have total of 9 years of experience into ETL Informatica, and right now I want to get into cloud. AWS I have chosen as a cloud provider since the client which I am working, they are also moving to cloud with AWS. So majorly I'm looking from the course is like the basics of AWS and also AWS data engineering. I'm not sure about as in the roadmap to it, what exactly first services, where to start from, because I don't have that much experience on Python and rather any of the AWS services. So I'm proficient in SQL and data modeling and data warehousing concepts. But yeah, so this is my intro and basically what I'm trying to seek from the course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Shrikant? Shrikant, can you brief about yourself? You're muted, Shrikant. And Arif Sheikh.
Yeah, good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So, yeah, so actually, I do have 3+ years of experience, but that is into non-technical domain. So, I've been working on, pretty much on Excel. That's it. So, I do have some basic sort of knowledge regarding SQL, but not practical. And the rest of the thing is, I'm also looking for into, working in data engineering domain. So I also wanted to choose AWS only because I'm working in Amazon only right now. So that's why.
Okay, thank you. Shrikant? Yeah, Aditya, you can go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Ganesh. Thanks, everyone, for your brief introduction. Welcome, first of all, to the demo session of our AWS Data Engineering. I'll quickly brief about my experience. So my name is Aditya. I am working as a senior data engineer and ML engineer in one of the Fortune 50 organization. I have vast experience into ETL, data engineering, primarily on cloud stack, AWS, and Azure. On top of that, I have exposure in or experience in data science and ML engineering as well, because data engineering and data science goes always hand in hand. And I was fortunate enough to get a chance to work over there. Predominantly, I have close to 8 years of experience solely into this data engineering aspect. I worked for various organizations building ETL pipelines, mainly on cloud stack. And for doing this ETL processing, we have used big data, Hadoop, or Spark, PySpark, right? So with the intent of this course is to educate ourselves on the intricacies of data engineering. And we are choosing here AWS as our primary cloud tech stack. The reason why we are choosing AWS is I'm going to explain this in couple of minutes, right? So that's a bit about me. Once again, I welcome you all for this demo session. Let me quickly present my screen and we can go through with the course structure, what all topics that the course entails and what all we can learn from this course out of it. Okay. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Let me know if it is visible to everyone. Can anyone confirm if the screen is visible to everyone?
Yes, Aditya. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the confirmation. Right. So this course is basically about AWS data engineers, right? So by the end of this course, the expectation is that everyone should be having understanding of data engineering, primarily with AWS cloud stack, right? So before we start deep dive into the core structure of our AWS data engineering, I just want to emphasize on what exactly is data engineering, right? When we say data engineering, what is meant by data engineering? So we all know that we are living in an era of a digital world where the data is growing with an immense speed, right? So I was checking somewhere in Forbes that the amount of data that we used to generate in a year back in 2013, in the year 2013, is equivalent to the amount of data now we generate within a single day itself. You can imagine the change and shift in the dynamics of amount of data that we are generating. And these days, data is the new gold to every organization. With the help of data, organizations are able to predict the behavior of humans in order to generate more profit, more business for themselves. So with the help of data, they can understand how their businesses are performing, what are the key actions or decisions they need to make in order to make their business profitable, right? So the question is how we take care of the immense amount of data that we are producing. So if you remember that back in uh, a couple of years back in US itself, so there was some reports which has been published that with the help of Facebook, the US election has been tweaked in a way that it benefits a particular party, right? And in the back end, they have just purely utilized the vast amount of data to quickly generate the insight out of it. And they know that this district, this population wants to listen or wants to, talk about these topics, and they are able to manipulate the overall result of the US Congress itself. So you can imagine the impact of data is doing. So the question is, we have large amount of data available at our disposal. How exactly we process it? Or the question is how exactly we can generate insights out of it, right? So to handle the large amount of data, to generate the insight of out of it, there is a need of doing the data engineering, right? You need to understand the data, you need to handle the large amount of data that is being developed every day, and using that data, generate key insights out of it and deliver impact to the business. So who is going to do this kind of work, right? Because this is a paradigm shift which happened in last couple of years. This was not which has been seen or which has been known to people back in 2010 or below that, right? So this increases the demand of data engineers in the industry. If you just look at the job postings today, the amount of data engineering job posting is exceeds any other job postings that is with respect to data oriented jobs, right? So that's a bit about data engineering, and that's a need of data engineer in today's world, right? We as a data engineers are required to build and maintain infrastructure for data storage, processing, and transformation. What are the key responsibilities of data engineer are? So data engineer are used to collect vast amount of data, right? So the data is coming from Facebook, the data is coming from Twitter, Instagram, the data is being generated from various sales outlets. For example, Walmart, right? So Walmart is across US. It has lot many different stores. Per day, Walmart generates more than 1 terabyte of data. So that vast amount of data, we as a data engineer need to collect, transform, build pipelines, and generate insights out of it, right? So what is the importance of doing the data engineering, right? I already emphasized enough that with the help of data engineering, we should be able to predict the output of the US Congress election results, or we were able to change the decision of the public, right? Change the opinion of the public, right? So that is one of the biggest key driven factor that the data is able to perform. So that is the importance of data. It empowers decisions making, right? So with the help of data, I know what I need to speak, what I need to talk about, what I need to wear. And with the help of that, they were able to rig the election altogether. Not only that, it supports data science. It improves the performance of the overall organization, and it improves the business ability to generate more profit. So what are the challenges that we can face, right? So the challenge is, how do you going to scale your data engineering pipeline? So when I say scale, it means that we already spoke about, we have large amount of data coming in. So how do you scale your system so that it is sufficient enough to handle the large amount of load which is coming in the form of data, right? So this is what in general data engineering is all about. How exactly we do data engineering, right? So for doing the data engineering, we use various tools available in market. So we use Informatica up to certain extent. We use AWS predominantly for doing the data engineering. We use Azure, we use Google Cloud, right? We use a couple of different uh, services or tools available at our hand in the market. So which one to choose at what time? This is something we need to take decision as data engineers. And as part of our course, we are going to talk about how, when, and why we are going to choose a specific service, in what scenarios, what are the positives of using this service, what are the implications of using this service, what is the cost part of utilizing a service. This is all we are going to talk about in our upcoming sessions of this data engineering course. Right, I'll quickly jump on. We already spoke about data engineering and we touched upon cloud, right? So what exactly cloud is, right? So for the folks who are new to this cloud world, right? So cloud is something that you are seeing in this picture is not that we are going to, discuss upon. Cloud is something that you are seeing in the second picture. It is nothing but a collection of lot of servers and computers placed in a highly secured location far away from normal person reach. And basic or easiest example of cloud is your Google Drive or Apple Drive, right? Everyone have used Google Drive in their life, right? One way or the other. So that is an example of cloud. So cloud again is a place where we keep our data safe and intact. Cloud is made up of servers and computers that are highly secured, highly regularized, and they are far away from the reach of normal human beings, right? So that is cloud. Now coming back to the question that why exactly we are talking about AWS as one of the cloud provider for this course, or why we have chosen AWS as the cloud provider, because we have multiple cloud providers available in the market. We have Azure, we have Google, we have cloud from SAP, we have cloud from Salesforce, we have cloud from IBM. But if we just look at the demand of different clouds, if you can look at this graph on the right hand side, so there is an organization called Statista. It is used to collect the statistics, and it is well known for publishing the stats. And this stats has been published back in 2023 quarter 1. And as per this graph, you can see that AWS is the clear winner in terms of demand, followed by Azure, followed by Google, and there are a bunch of other cloud providers. And hence, by deep diving into the demands, hence by deep diving into the job posting and everything, we come to a conclusion that AWS is a clear winner today in terms of the cloud provider, and hence this whole course is designed fully on AWS as cloud provider for us. Okay, quickly moving on now, since we have speak about cloud, right? What exactly cloud is. And since we have concluded that AWS is highly popularized today in terms of cloud services, let's quickly understand what is meant by cloud computing, correct? We understood what cloud is. Now let's understood what exactly cloud computing is all about, right? So AWS cloud computing is like a super big computer that is not available in front of us, that is available in the cloud. I'll give you one basic example, right? So as of now, we have joined this call using our personal laptops or using our mobile cell phones. And that is something that we can use, touch, and feel. However, AWS cloud computing or AWS cloud computers are big computers that are far away from our human reach. However, you can interact with these computers with the help of internet through your normal computers, right? So that is basically cloud computing it. So what is the benefit of cloud computing, right? So let's look an example. So there is a data engineer working in a company, or let's say there is a person who is working in an organization. That organization is using their normal tools. For example, they are using Excel to process some data. When I say process some data, basically we want to generate insights from my data. So for that, I am using Excel. For example, I'm filtering some of the data. I am doing some lookups on the data. For that matter, I am using Excel. We know that Excel has its certain limitation and capabilities. More than 10 lakh records, if we try to process with the help of Excel, Excel will start behaving differently or abruptly, right? You will start facing problem with terms of its performance, right? So if not Excel, then what else? So we have other tools like Informatica. We have different ETL tools for that matter that can give you a better performance to handle more data. Let's say now I have 10 million records, right? Which is close to 100 lakh records. I have 10 million records, or let's say 100 million records. For those records, I can easily use Informatica to process this big amount of data. And Informatica should be able to, any other ATL tool should be able to do that, right? But imagine that there is a surge happening in your data. Instead of processing those 100 million records, you want to process 1 billion rows. And why the surge happened? The surge happened because there is a Black Friday sale happening in your organization. Let's say you are a retail company and the Black Friday sale is coming in. And because of that, lots of people are rushing in and they are buying a lot of products. And because of that, lots of different records are being generated. And this is coming in my database or in my organization. I need to handle the surge in these records. How exactly I can do that? One way is I can have a better Informatica in place, which can be able to handle this amount of data. Or when I say Informatica, let's imagine a ETL tool, right? That can handle, or any server. So today, with Informatica or other traditional ETL tools, every tools run on on-premise server. When I say on-premise server, meaning company is responsible of managing these servers. Company is responsible of maintaining these servers, right? So let's say for doing this type of, for processing 100 million records, they need, let's imagine, a big server which has 1 terabyte of RAM. You can imagine buying a server of 1 terabyte of RAM is a very costly affair, correct? Even if you go buy a laptop with 32 GB RAM, and if you buy the same laptop with 64 GB RAM, you can notice the difference in the price for 64 GB one. Similarly, you are having a 1 terabyte server, which is used to process this huge load. Now we are saying that the load is further increasing. It is going up to 1 GB and we need better servers to process this load. So in order to process this load, one way is we can go buy the better server, but it is going to be very costly for us, right? we can buy, that's not a problem, but we know that the load is only going to be available for 4 to 5 days, not beyond that, because the sale will eventually last only 4 to 5 days, and post that the sale will go off. In that scenario, does it make sense to buy the full server only for 4 or 5 days? Isn't it better that I can rent the same server for 4 or 5 days, pay the rent price, and quickly come back to my original load, right? Isn't it the right way? Okay, I'll simplify this thing. Hey Arun, can you stop? Yeah, thank you. I'll simplify this. Let's say you are going on a holiday trip to a different country, and you are going to stay there for 10 days. So for 10 days, you are going to travel to some places, and you need a car to travel, right? So there are two options. Either you buy a car in that country, use it for 15 days, and post that you don't have any use. You cannot take the car back with you. So you have to dump the car over there. That is option number one. Second option is you go there. There is a renting company. So the renting company says is you can rent the car for 1 day itself. So you are going to rent the car for 15 days. How much you drive, you pay the price for that, and there is no headache for you, like license, road tax, and whatsoever, right? Whatever it is. So which option do you prefer in case you want to travel to a different country and you want to use the car? Option A or option B?
B, obviously.
Obviously B, because I need not to take headache of buying the car, managing the road tax, insurance, and whatsoever. Correct. Same concepts goes in AWS cloud computing. You need not to buy the whole big servers for doing your data processing. If the load is coming in for 2 3 days, you can rent the server from AWS. AWS has large amount, big set of servers. You can go to
Yeah.
AWS. You can ask, hey, give me your server. I need the servers for 10 days. I don't know. I can take it for 5, 10, whatever. I just need to rent it. So what AWS will say, okay, that's fine. I am going to charge you for 1 second uses, right? So let's say you are using my server for 5 days, 10 hours, 15 minutes, and 35 seconds. So I'm going to charge you for only this amount. I'm not even going to charge you for 11 days. Whatever you are using, I'm going to charge you for that. And that's my fees. And this is the best option, in my opinion, is right. If the load is increasing, if I need the quick data analysis to be performed, I will definitely go to AWS, rent the servers, use it, and that's it. I'll go away with it. I will pay for that. I will not going to buy the full servers, right? Maintain them and pay the whole price of even buying the server and whatsoever. So that's what cloud computing in nutshell is. You go to cloud providers, you ask for their servers, they provide you their servers and other services on top of that. You pay for that, you use it, you do your data analysis, and once you are done with it, you just left it out, right? And you pay for whatever you have used so far. So that's the benefit of cloud computing, and that's what organization prefers. They don't want to overspend on buying a lot of things. They want to rent it, use it, and go away with it. So that's a bit about AWS cloud computing. I am going to cover a lot many different concepts of cloud computing in my upcoming lectures, right? I'll quickly jump on to the topics that we are going to cover as part of our AWS data engineering course. So we are going to cover quickly about the SQL basics and Python, right? We are going to discuss about Spark, and then we are going to discuss about big data concepts like Hadoop, and then we are going to introduce PySpark. They're going to practice PySpark, right, to process big data. In terms of AWS topics, we are going to understand what exactly S3 is, what exactly Lambda, Kinesis, Redshift, Glue, right? All these different tools are used for doing ETL processes within our cloud infrastructure, right? If I take one topic and explain it in detail. Like for example, with SQL and Python, we are going to talk about the basics of SQLs, the basics of Python, right? If I talk about Spark, so we are going to talk about what exactly Spark is, what Hadoop is, what big data is, what is PySpark is, how we can run codes in PySpark, right? We are going to practice and build ETL pipelines using PySpark, right? So that's what is covered in this course. Coming to the topics of AWS, so we have S3 covered, we have IAM covered, right? We have Kinesis covered, which is used for real-time streaming use cases. We have Lambda covered, which is used for batch processing as well as for streaming processing. And I have a demo planned just in next couple of minutes for doing a streaming pipeline and showing you a batch pipeline. I am going to talk about Redshift, which is nothing but a data warehouse in which we store our data. Then we have Glue and Athena, which is used for building ETL pipelines on cloud infrastructure. And apart from that, these topics, we are going to, understand the different projects, the real-time projects of data engineering that we are going to see. These projects are available or given as case study by AWS itself. So we are going to understand these different topics in details. And we are not only that, we are going to create a real-time project out of these services that is a proper project which has been given by AWS and which is being used in different Fortune 100 industries as well. So this all will be covered as part of this course, right? So that's it from my side on the different components of course structure that we are going to cover in our course, right? If you have any question, I'll take a pause. Do let me know.
Sir, it's need any program language to learn about data engineer.
Okay. So as I mentioned that Python and SQL are the two components that data engineer needs to learn, right? And this is something we are going to cover as well. But if you are okay or you have basic understanding of a different language, let's say Java, then you can very well be able to go through the data engineering course. That shouldn't
Sir,
be a problem.
I one more question have.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So I have 4 years experience with application support only. I think so. Shall I move on? Right time to move to AWS cloud engineer. So it's possible to move on. It's any possible to get the job opportunity.
Okay, so this course has been designed in a way to give you practical knowledge of each service, right? So whatever I'm going to talk about is coming from my experience of the service that I have used in the industry. I'm not going to talk about the theory part. I'm going to give you the practical implementation, how the
Mhm.
service is used in real time today in real projects. What are the pros of this service? What are the cons of this service, and how the cost management has been done for a particular service of
Mhm.
AWS. And this
Mhm.
all will be, the structure will be followed across all the different components of AWS services that we are going to learn in the course throughout. So this is going to be a proper hands-on training session for you so that you should be able to work on AWS after we are done with our sessions.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thanks.
Any other questions for the folks on the call?
Yeah, hi, I'm Nikhil. I have a few questions.
Sure.
Yeah, so this is a AWS data engineering course, but is it necessary to get the knowledge of the basic services first? As in, is it okay for me? As I said, I have a total experience of 9 years, but into SQL, ETL, Informatica, Power Center, and data
Correct.
engineering, data model. But
Correct.
can I directly learn AWS data engineering with, as you said, Kinesis and AWS Glue, all these services, or do I have to first understand the foundational, basic services like S3, then EC2, then Route 53, and DNS? Some of those are there, right? Where
Okay. That's a very valid question. So as you mentioned that this course is designed for data engineers, right? So if you go in the AWS certifications or AWS study, there is no dedicated program that they have for data engineers today. They recently started a beta program in which they are covering basics of AWS, followed by Kinesis, Glue, EMR, Spark, right? And this is what we are covering in our course, not from today, but this course has been running from last 1 year, even beyond that, right? So the curriculum of the course keep on changing depending upon the current shift in the market dynamics. And if, as you mentioned, do I need to understood S3? Do I need to understood IAM? Basic knowledge is always required, because if you want to work with Kinesis, then you have to initially build a IAM role. Without IAM, you cannot start consuming data from Kinesis. Similarly, if you want to process data from Kinesis, you want to load it to a table, or you want to load it to a file. So where you keep your table, where you keep your file. So this file should be kept in S3, or if the table, then the table should be in Redshift or Dynamo. So similarly, whatever service you are going to use, there are some prerequisites for that service, and those prerequisites I am going to cover as part of my sessions. And these prerequisites will be IAM mainly, followed by S3, followed by a basics of EC2, and then we'll start using Lambda, Kinesis, SNS, SQS, and lot many different services.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's not required to understand VPC and all those.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as an AWS data engineer profile, these services, if I have a little hands-on and training, I can directly kind of work on projects, right?
Correct. And with the way the course has been designed is to give you the practical knowledge, not the theory. So whenever I start a service, I start with the practical side of the service, that this is the service. That's how we are using this service in real world, right? When I say real world, in real projects, this is the different set of codes. This is the different set of problems that you can see when you work with this service in real world, and what are the solutions of that, so that when you touch a project, you should not be feeling left out. Okay, I know the theory, I know the basics, but how I implement this in real project? So that's how the structure of the course is designed, by keeping the fact in mind that we have real data engineers, or we have real professional folks that are going to work with real projects.
Okay, so for the profile of this profile, so interviewer will stick to these services and these technologies itself, as in PySpark, Python, and S3.
Mostly. And thanks for bringing this up. So whenever we discuss a service, we always give you the interview questions for that service as well, right? For example, when I reach the session of big data and PySpark, I'm going to give you side by side the interview questions that are generally asked in big data or in PySpark, so that you understood the service, you understood the subjective questions attached to the service as well, so that you can prepare for your interviews quickly once we are done with our lectures. And post that, I am going to give you interview questions on each service in a form of a document. If required, I can conduct mock interviews for you for your preparation, and we can validate your resume as well. I didn't mention this, but this is all part of our training program.
Thank you.
Okay, if we are good with the question, I'll quickly want to jump on our demo that I have planned. It's a very basic or small demo. I want to show the power of data engineering, say AWS. Let me quickly share my screen again. I'm sharing my screen again. Let me know if my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for the confirmation. So basically, this is my AWS UI, right? So when we go in our sessions, I'm going to talk about how exactly we use AWS, right? How do we create our personal account on AWS? Everything will be covered in our future lectures, but quickly complete the demo. I am going to show you the power of streaming pipelines, and I'm going to show you the power of a batch data engineering pipeline here. It's a very basic, very minimal pipeline, guys, right? I am not going to build a heavy engineering pipeline. It's a very basic demo that I have just prepared for this session. So as part of this pipeline, what I am going to do, I am going to process a real-time message with the help of Lambda function. This is the pipeline number one, which is streaming use case, right? Second pipeline is a batch pipeline where I'm going to read a file, right, that is available in S3 bucket, and then I'll print the output of that file, whatever the output is, right? So to achieve this, I am utilizing a service of AWS called Lambda, right? And as part of this service, right, I'll quickly, first of all, show you how the service is, right? So I have a Lambda function that is designed to read the messages coming in real time, right, from a different AWS service. So you can think of Kinesis, or you can think of Kafka. Like real time streaming data is coming in, and I'll read this data and I'll process this data in real time with the help of Lambda function. Okay. So for doing this, I'll use SNS. SNS is also a AWS service. Need not to worry. This also will be covered in our future lectures, right? So what I'll do, I'll quickly publish a message, right? So I'll give subjects, let's say test message, right? And I'll create a message. Okay, so what value do you want me to give? Let's say demo. Can you give me a number here or anything? Any number, anything is fine. Any keyword.
Three 2023.
Okay. 3122023. Okay, that's a good number, which is today's date. I'm going to send this message, right? So that's how the streaming works. You constantly keep on sending messages, and your ETL pipeline or streaming pipeline should be intelligent enough to process this message, right? I'm going to publish this message. I have successfully published this message. Let me quickly go to my Lambda function, right? So this is my Lambda, which is designed to process this message. Let me go to the logs of this Lambda function, right? Need not to worry. Again, I am mentioning this all will be covered in our future lectures. I'll quickly go to the logs of this Lambda function to see whether the message that I have sent is successfully processed by my Lambda or not, right? So this is Lambda logs that we are opening, right? Let's quickly see. So I see a log which has been created just now. It's 8:43 in India, right? I'll quickly open this log and let's see what message that we have pasted. So isn't it the message that we have pasted? Can anyone confirm?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So wow, we were able to build a very basic streaming pipeline, right? I'm not say it's a proper real world pipeline, but it's a demo, right? So we are able to successfully process a real time message, right? So you see that there is no lag. Even I didn't touch the Lambda itself. I just put the message back in service SNS, and then Lambda is itself able to process this message and able to display the output for me, right? This is an example of streaming pipeline. There is more to it when we reach to our sessions, right? When we go in depth of Lambda, when we go in depth of streaming pipelines, but this is just a quick demo, right? I'll quickly show a similar demo for doing a batch processing, for processing a file instead of a message itself, right? So I'll quickly do one thing. I'll upload a file, right? Let me delete this. First of all, I'm deleting this file, right? So basically I am processing the file from a S3 bucket, again with the help of a Lambda. right? I have deleted this file. That's fine. So I have a very basic file with me, right? You can see it contains nothing. It just contains two column A and B, and then the values 1, 2, right? It's a file that am using for my demo purpose. So I am going to upload this file in this S3 bucket, and then I am going to process this file with the help of Lambda again, right? I have a different Lambda. So this Lambda will automatically be reading this file from the S3 bucket, and then it is going to display the records that I have available in my sample file, right? Let's quickly jump into the demo. Let me quickly upload the file. That is the file, right? Input file. I have uploaded the file in the S3 bucket. The file has been uploaded, right? Let's quickly see the log of this Lambda, right? I'm already in the monitoring section. I'm opening the logs of this Lambda. We'll closely see when the logs has been generated. Okay, so I see a recent log around 8:46. Let me open this log and see what content is the file has printed. And the content the file has been printed is A, V, which is the columns, right? The columns are there, and the rows it has is 1, 2, right? I know it's not very neat, right? So in ETL, what we do, we extract data from file, we transform it, and then eventually we load it back to a file or to a table, right? So, but that's again is a different topic that we want to consider in future lectures. But just to show you, we can do batch processing, we can do streaming processing, everything just with the help of a very small service of AWS called Lambda, right? So with the help of Lambda, we are able to do this much. Imagine what we can do with Glue, which is again a ETL service of AWS. Imagine what we can do with the help of Spark, PySpark on EMR, AWS EMR, right? So that's what the course is going to entail, and that's what cloud or say AWS gives you, right? So and guys, believe me, it hardly took me not more than 5 minutes to build these two pipelines, right? Again, reiterate, I hardly took more than 5 minutes to build these two pipelines, and by the end of the course, you should be able to do the same that I have just demoed here. I'll take a quick pause here to see if there is any question coming in your mind now.
Yeah, hi Aditya. Actually,
Yep.
I have a question out of context.
Sure, shoot.
I wanted to know, like, in interview processes, uh, would you go through our profiles and mend our resume or LinkedIn so that for the interview calls we could get the interview calls?
Sure. So that will be at the end of the course where we go through the resume, we review your resume, and then we'll make your profile aligned to what your career expectation is and what you have learned in this course. And then we have Ganesh on the call. So he has a network of different folks. So he should be able to give you some leads. And he has a very good network of doing this resume monitoring, resume enhancement, and everything. So he should be able to help us in doing this. And I'll be there for giving all the inputs which is required.
Thank you.
Yep. Any question, guys, that is coming in your mind now? This is the right time to speak. Yes, no, maybe. Okay, that's completely fine. So that's it I have for today, guys. That's pretty much I have. thank you again for joining. I hand this over to Ganesh. Ganesh, over to you for any future instruction you want to give.
Yeah, team. So any questions, Nikhil, Arif, Srikanth, Biswa?
So when are you going to start this batch?
This coming Wednesday, another 2 days. And the timing is going to be 7:30 in the morning, 7:30 to 8:30 daily classes. And it's going to be Monday to Friday, weekdays.
Okay. So it will be for 2-3 months, right?
It will go for 2 months of time. We can, you say, if you have any questions regarding technical, we can make use of Aditya here. About the timings, about the fee and duration, everything, I'll call it tomorrow and we'll discuss.
Yeah. So for regarding technical, so SQL and Python would be covered, right?
Okay, so I'll assess the overall competency of the whole batch. Like if the whole batch is very good in SQL and Python, then I'll start quickly with AWS services. And then if you are struggling with SQL and Python, I can, talk to you with SQL and Python separately. But if the whole batch is needing refresher on SQL Python, then I should be able to give that.
Hi, Nikhil here.
Yep.
What exactly are the prerequisites here? Because on the PDF that was shared to me, it's mentioned that the prerequisites are 2 years of experience in AWS. Yeah, at least 2 years of hands-on experience working on AWS and Python/SQL knowledge.
Okay.
So
Yes.
that
Python. Yeah. Python and SQL is definitely required. At least the basic of Python and SQL, so that you guys can relate what exactly is happening when we are doing the demo or doing the proper hands-on of a service. But if let's say I see that the whole batch is new to Python and SQL, then I'll do some extra classes specifically on Python and SQL. Otherwise, the idea is here to give a quick refresher of Python and SQL and then quickly jump on to the AWS services that is solely based on data engineering. And that'll do the competency check on day one of the class itself.
Okay, and regarding that 2 years of hands-on experience working on AWS,
I think it should be meant for SQL and Python. I'll check the PDF again with Ganesh.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. If there is no further questions, I think Ganesh, I'll again hand it over to you and I'll drop off. You can discuss the rest proceedings with the team.
Okay, sure, Aditya. Thank you, Aditya. Thanks for your time.
Thanks everyone for your time today. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.